Hello and welcome to the Elemental Entrepreneurship Podcast. I'm your host, Sarah. And once again, if you're new around here, well, first of all, welcome. You're not going to notice any difference. But if you are an OG, you're going to notice that the intro is different. And it's because we are rebranding this podcast and we're still trying to figure out exactly what that means. By we, I mean I. But I want to test a little name on y'all. The name that is circulating, the only one that I've found that I like, the only one that feels right, is to change the name of this podcast to Stop Bullshitting. The Stop Bullshitting Podcast with Sarah. So if you like that idea, send me a DM on Instagram at Intuitive Edge Coaching or an email, intuitiveedgecoaching@gmail.com, and tell me your thoughts. Do you like the idea of the Stop Bullshitting Podcast? Or do you think it's too harsh? Or do you think it's not right? Do you have an idea of what you think the new name of this podcast should be? If so, pitch it to me. I'd love to hear it. And if I choose your name, I'll definitely let everyone know that it was suggested by you. But I think that leaning into the truth of my personality and the core message of a lot of my work, Stop Bullshitting really kind of is the crux of it. And it's not intended to be mean, right? It's just because a lot of the time, the things that are keeping us from doing the things that we want to do and having the success that we want to have and breaking through some of the upper limits of our own success patterns and stories are us bullshitting ourselves and about what we're doing and about what we think and about how we feel, or we're wasting time, or we're living as though we have all of the time in the world to do the things that we want to do. And I think those are the main things that I try to coach us, all of us, myself included, out of doing, is living like we have forever, is bullshitting with our talent, is wasting our time, not pursuing the things that really matter the most to us. So that's kind of something I've been thinking about. So there we go. We're testing it out. This is the debut test of Stop Bullshitting. So you hear my loyal audience of, 30 to 50 people who listen to this podcast. Shoot me a DM, shoot me an email. Let me know what you think. Tell me if you like it. Tell me if you hate it. Tell me if you have other ideas. I would love to hear them. But that's not really what we're here to talk about today. Today, what we're here to talk about are the 5 essential systems that your company needs to have running around the clock, running on autopilot, in order for your business to be what I'm starting to call a money printing freedom machine. Because that's what we really want, right? I want a business that prints money. I want a business that just is making money all the time. It's making money while I'm asleep. It's making money while I'm on vacation. I can be anywhere in the world doing anything, and my business is making money. And freedom, right? I want to be able to be on vacation, doing anything anywhere in the world while my business is making money. And many of us do not have a business that is a money printing freedom machine. Many of us have a business that is a full-time job at best, and a terrifying income roller coaster at worst. And I don't want that. I don't want that for me. I don't want that for you. I don't want that for anybody. And I want to say that, first of all, it's not our fault, right? Because what most of us are taught when we start building an online business, especially my folks, you, me, those of us who are here, we didn't go into business because we have MBAs, right? I did not go to business school. I am not a captain of industry. Business was not my motivation for business, right? My motivation for business is I have gifts, skills, and talents. I have things that I'm good at. I have work that I'm passionate about. I have people that I care about. I have things that I can do in the world that I can charge money for. And I would rather do that than have a job. I would rather do nothing, honestly, if all of us had our way and we didn't have to pay any bills. I probably wouldn't rather do nothing, right? I would still make art, but I would be on the beach and eating fruit and chilling, as I think most of us would if we didn't have to contend with the absurd concept that is cost of living on the only planet that we can live on. That got existential fast. You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, I think most of us would not be doing a job if we didn't have to have a job. But if we're going to have to make money, then I would rather do it doing stuff I love, that I care about, that I'm good at, that matters to me on my own terms without working for a boss. And I'm sure that that's why most of you went into business as well. And then we get into it and we find out we have to learn all of this shit about business that we're like, ugh, I didn't care about any of this. None of this was interesting to me. But now we have to learn it, and we have to become good at it, and we have to build systems around it, and we have to hire teams for it. And that's like, as they say, the cost of doing business. Learning business is the cost of doing business for most creative entrepreneurs. And when we start learning how to do business, most of what we're taught, this is what I was taught, this is what I have taught, is some variation of you select a legal structure, you figure out exactly what it is you're going to do, and then you figure out who you're going to do it for, right? Your ideal customers. And then you figure out what you're going to offer. You create your packages and you set your pricing, and then you just start telling people that that's what you do. And if you're lucky, you get enough clients. And if you're not lucky, you don't. And that's pretty much how that works. If that sounds familiar, then you're probably on a terrifying income roller coaster a lot of the time. If you've been very, very lucky and your offer is really strong and your positioning is good and you had some natural talent with marketing, your messaging really landed with people, you got a lot of great referrals, then maybe you've done pretty well for yourself just off of the strength of your offer, your skill in delivering that offer, and your community. And you're doing a good, steady business. But for pretty much everyone, if you do not have the 5 systems I'm about to talk about in place, there will come a time where your growth stalls. I have worked with business owners who had multiple 6-figure years for years and years just purely off of referral. And then at a certain point, the market changed and that stopped. And they had none of the systems that I'm about to talk about in place. And so when those referrals dried up, their business crashed and they were plunged into some pretty extreme existential crises around what they were going to do, because they realized they didn't have a company. And without these systems in place, you don't really have a business. You don't really have a company. You have an offer and you have some clients. You are essentially a glorified freelancer. But if you've been around for a while, you've heard me say that a business is a machine that makes money for you. When you're a freelancer, you make money. When you're an employee, you make money, by which I mean your butt needs to be in the seat. You have to be delivering the services manually. Your body has to be in the chair. You have to be at work, clocked in order to make money. And there's a dog barking outside. So if you hear that, that's a neighbor dog. When you have a business, you have a machine that makes money for you. That's the thing that you shift your focus to. You shift out of focusing on being the person delivering the services and that's what your work is, to being the person who's working on crafting, constructing, building, and fine-tuning the machine. And that shift is the shift from being a freelancer to being a CEO, from being an employee to being a business owner. We start focusing more on the structure of the business itself and how the business runs and functions versus our single human body being the thing, the person, the machine that is delivering the products and services. So if you don't have these 5 systems in place, I am not surprised if your business is working in fits and starts, if you do not have consistent income, if you cannot take breaks or take time off. So these 5 systems being in place and running on autopilot is where we start to really create freedom for you as a business owner. All right, so stop telling us that you're going to tell us about the systems and tell us about the systems. I hear you, okay? I hear ya. So the 5 systems every business needs in order to be scalable, to be scaling, are an audience growth system. That's number 1. You need a steady flow of new people finding out about your brand all the time. Number 2 is you need a lead generation system. You need a way to extract and track the qualified buyers from within the pool of audience, right? So these are a little shaped like a funnel here from top to bottom. That's not a mistake. But we're going from macro to micro. We need people to know about the brand, but not everybody who knows about the brand is a qualified lead. So how do we figure out who in the audience is actually a lead versus who's just a fan versus who's window shopping? Next, we need a sales system. You need to have a process that converts leads into sales without you manually having to sell everything. Fourth, you need a product delivery system, right? How do you fulfill these orders? Do you have a fulfillment system that doesn't eat up your time and that ensures consistent client experience? And then number 5, you need a customer retention system. How do you keep your clients growing with your brand and buying from you for years to come? So we need all 5 of these. And if even one of these systems is missing, then there's somewhere that your growth is stalling. There's somewhere that you're bottlenecking the growth of your business. So we're going to talk about each of these systems a little bit more in depth, one at a time. The first is the audience growth system. We want audience growth happening on autopilot. We want to know, how are new people finding your business every day? If you have no audience growth system, then you're constantly selling to the same people over and over. Now, for a lot of us, especially if our audience is people who were already on our personal email list, or we had a personal Instagram and then we shifted it to business, the majority of our audience is actually not even potential customers. They're friends and family, they're friends of friends, and then maybe they're people who got referred to us. But most of us start out with a pretty small audience of people who are not ideal clients. And so it makes sense that you're going to fatigue that audience either really quickly, or it might take some time, but you will fatigue that audience. And when that happens, right, what that might look like is you launch your product or your service, you have some sales, you have some initial success, and then you keep relaunching your offer, but you have dwindling returns. So the first time you launched it, you got 10 people, and the second time you launched it, you got 5 people, and the third time you launched it, you got 2 people, and the fourth time you launched it, you got no one. And you start thinking that the problem is the offer. I need a new offer. People used to like this and they don't anymore. I got to go back to the drawing board. I got to start all over. But what really might be happening is you've just fatigued your existing audience. You've offered them everything they're going to buy. All of the buyers who were in that initial pool have bought. And now you need more people to know about your brand in order to keep selling your offer. It's not a bad thing to have one solid offer. That is usually what's recommended, one signature offer, or maybe a couple, right? But that you keep rotating and offering those main signature offers over and over and over again. If you've seen businesses where it seems like every week or every month they have a whole new program that they're launching, this is probably someone who's experienced audience fatigue, but they don't know that that's what they're experiencing. And so they're thinking the problem's the offer. I have to just offer them something different. But what's really going on is they don't have an audience growth system in place. Now, that audience growth system could be organic content. It can be strategic collaborations and PR. It can be paid traffic, right? Like ads, sponsorship, SEO. It can be a mix of all of the above. But you need a system that's dialed in and running around the clock so that new people are always finding out about you, because if new people don't know about you, then no one can buy from you. So just posting is not a system, right? Posting, especially with no posting strategy, no content plan, without having your marketing pillars really dialed in, without mastering your content strategy, and just, right, being like, well, I post a couple times a week, that's not really a system. So even if organic content is your audience growth strategy, your audience growth system, if you don't have an organic content strategy that is systematized and repeatable, then you don't have an audience growth system. If your goal is strategic collaborations and PR, but you don't have a system through which you are pitching out PR opportunities, doing podcast guesting, submitting yourself to be on podcasts or do collaborations with other businesses, if there's no system for how these new things are being brought into the business, you don't have an audience growth system. If you don't have a system for how you're running ads, for how you are continually refining and tweaking the metrics on your ads, then you don't have an audience growth system. So you don't necessarily need all three, but whichever one it is that you choose, we do want it to be an actual system. I have a workshop that I teach inside my membership, which is also changing and rebranding, and there's going to be more on that to come. But it's called SOPs as spell work. And SOP is a standard operating procedure. So when I'm talking about a system, I'm really talking about a standard operating procedure or a set of standard operating procedures. And when I say that they are spells, another word for that could be a recipe. Could someone reliably come in and follow step by step and execute this without you? If the answer is no, it's not a system. If it only exists in your head, if you're winging it, it's not a system. So when we're getting really honest about whether or not you have these systems in place, you having a vague idea of it, having some things that you do, not a system. If you couldn't go on vacation and hand this over to someone else and have them run it for you with very little lag or hiccup or change in the quality of delivery, it's not a system. So, our audience growth system, whether it is organic content, strategic collaborations and PR, paid traffic, it needs to be completely dialed in, running like a refrigerator, so that new people are always being brought into your ecosystem so that they can buy from you. The next is your lead generation system. We need leads that vet themselves. So your audience is not your leads. And your audience shouldn't be your leads. Your leads are in your audience. This is like that thing of like all apple fritters are donuts, but not all donuts are apple fritters. All of your leads are in your audience, but not all of your audience is leads. Not everyone who follows you is meant to be a customer. And that's okay. It would be great if we had a 100% conversion rate, but I don't think that exists for literally anything. There are some people who just like following you, who like your social media, who like your face, who like your voice, who want to listen to your podcast or watch your YouTube channel or like watch your Instagram stories, but they're not going to buy from you ever. They are just meant to be a fan. And we love those people. Glad you're here. I know I have them in my audience. I have people who open every single email I've ever sent out and they've never bought anything. We're still glad they're here. They're part of the community. That's great. But as a business, we need to be able to extract the most qualified buyers from the audience and nurture the right people. We need to know who in this group is an actual lead versus who's just here to hang out. So your business needs some type of automated lead capture. So that can be your freebie, right? It can be opt-ins, it can be quizzes. And then we need an email nurture sequence and a sales sequence so our leads don't get cold. And then we need a tracking system to assess, this is called a CRM, a client management system. How are we keeping track of where people are as they go through this system? So if we don't have this in place, if we don't have this system, you might have an audience, but you have no way to know who in your audience is a potential customer. You have no way of knowing what stage of readiness they're in or how to reach out to them with offers. This is one of the biggest mistakes I see people make when they are neglecting their email list. Email, first of all, just converts way higher than other platforms. It converts higher than social media. It converts higher than web traffic. Email is the thing. But email is also the thing that allows us as business owners the most metrics tracking and to make the deepest connection with people. So if you are only marketing on social media, say you do have a pretty good audience growth system locked in. You have a great content strategy. You're putting out a YouTube video a week. You're growing your audience there. You have people coming in all the time, but you're not then moving those people, or as many of those people as possible, from following you on your social or subscribing to your YouTube into a deeper level of intimacy with you, into alerting you that they are an actual prospect for your services. Then you are missing money, and you are missing out on the opportunity to help that person and to make a deeper connection with that person. So this can be done, like I said, through a freebie, through an opt-in, through a quiz. So that might look like they subscribe to you on YouTube, they're watching your video, and at the end of your videos, you're telling them, take this quiz that helps you figure out who you are in my system. And when they take the quiz, that drops them into an email nurture sequence that tells them all about, here's who you are inside my patented system, and here are the things that I can offer you, here are the things that I can help you with, here's what you do next so that we can continue growing this relationship. And then you have a way of looking at who's opening those emails, who's clicking on things, what are the things they're clicking on, having a tag system that lets you know, okay, this person is interested in these kinds of offers and not these other kinds of offers, a way for them to pre-qualify themselves. So how we pre-qualify, that gets into a much deeper conversation about messaging in our marketing, but simply by what you're asking them to opt into, we're pre-qualifying that, or they're pre-qualifying themselves. So if you're asking them to download a video about latching as a lactation consultant, I don't have kids, I just made this up. But if you say, right, like that, you're a lactation consultant and you're offering them a free mini course about latching comfortably, they're pre-qualifying themselves by letting you know that they either have a baby or they're about to have a baby. And that lets you know that they are interested in being sold something else. If they don't opt into that, they might be a person who their kids are older, or they are a co-parent, but they themselves are not breastfeeding, right? Like there's all these things. They might just be in your audience, but they're not the client for the lactation consultant offer. Just by offering them something they can opt into, they are pre-qualifying themselves for the next step of your sales process. So if you don't have an automated way to capture who in my audience is actually the right fit for the thing I'm selling, then you might have an audience, but you just have no way to know who in this audience is actually a potential customer. Are they actually ready to buy something? Are they, and readiness to buy is like, are they actively searching for solutions? Because somebody is actively searching for solutions to their problem, is downloading the freebie, is opting in to the offer, is taking the quiz. They are looking for solutions. And so just by offering them something and having them say yes to it, you know they're in a deeper stage of readiness, or they are more ready than the person who is watching your content periodically but not taking any action. And it gives you a way to know what type of offers they're interested in. The next thing we need is a sales system, right? So again, if you're picturing this as a funnel, we have a way for people to find you. And then of those people who find you, the people who are right for your offer are going, ooh, I want that free thing. Like I want this little sample that gives me a little taste of the work. Now they've opted into that. The next step is they might be ready to buy something, and they might be ready right now. But if you don't have a sales system that runs itself, then you might have a pre-qualified lead who is ready to buy something, but you're making it too hard for them to buy. Do they have to wait, right? If right now you only do live launches, you only open the doors to your program once or twice a year, and somebody comes into your world, they take you up on your freebie, they go through everything and they're like, oh my God, this is great. I want to work with this person, but you don't have a launch scheduled for 3 months, so they just have to wait. They're going to go find someone else because now they're fired up. They're ready for help. Do they have to book a sales call? What do they need to do to actually buy something? Is there an action they can take right now? Your lead generation system should be moving people through a sales pipeline, ideally that lets them get at least a little taste of your magic as soon as they're ready to slap that card down. So this can happen on autopilot through evergreen funnels. It could be automated nurture sequences. It can be that maybe they found you, they downloaded that lactation consulting video, the latching video, and then you sent them email nurture sequences that said, hey, if you liked this, you're going to love this other thing. I have a more comprehensive video series you can buy. You can book a consultation with me. You can buy a one-on-one session with me. And all of that happens automated without you in the room, so that person, once they've had a little taste of something good and they're like, ooh, yes, this is the person. I want this thing. I want this help. I'm ready to buy. Are we going to make it hard for them to buy? Is there a clear way for them to buy something without your help? Is there a checkout process? Is there an application process? Is there a sales process that runs online? Are there conversion assets that are selling for you that are in place, so that once somebody has brought themselves through your lead generation system, if they're ready to spend some money, it's not so hard for them to do that. If your only sales method is manually pitching, doing live launches, or waiting for referrals, then you don't actually have a sales system. So maybe you have audience members coming in, you have leads coming in, they're hanging out on your email list, but you're making it too hard for them to buy anything. And so you're missing money there. That's where it's falling apart. There's no system that takes people from interested to sending you money while you're at the movies. And then the next thing we need, once people are buying stuff, is we need a product delivery system. And I think it's really important, both with this sales system, with all of this, but really the sales and product delivery, to remember that we're living in the age of instant gratification online. We are living in the age of Amazon Prime. We are living in the age of instant streaming. We're living in a time where people are not used to really having to wait for things. And there's good and bad things about that, but it's important for us to recognize the marketplace that we are occupying. It's important for us to recognize that there's something that all of us, right, not just our customers, we're used to it too. There's something that we're used to that we now take as a sign that a business has their shit together and is professional. And so, I know some people who do very custom bespoke product work that it takes a long time, but they have a system set up so that once someone buys, at the very least, the person is getting an immediate confirmation. Maybe they're getting a little video that's like, hey, I'm so glad you bought. Here's what to expect. Here's how long it's going to take, and here's why it's going to take so long. But otherwise, even if it's a service, right? It's a mastermind, it's a group program, it's coaching. Once someone buys, we want to make sure that we deliver them something in a way that ensures that every single client has a consistent experience without it becoming another full-time job for you. We want to make sure that every client who comes through our door is going to have the same experience. They're going to get the same welcome. They're going to get the same onboarding process. They're going to get the same confirmation email so that no one is slipping through the cracks. And when you're relying on yourself to manually deliver everything, some clients may get their onboarding and their confirmation and their product delivered in 20 minutes, and some people may get it in 3 days because you're sick. And that's not the best experience that your clients could possibly have. And it's also putting undue pressure and stress on you when this process could be entirely automated. So scalable businesses have a streamlined, automated onboarding process. They have a clear curriculum or framework or delivery plan for services. They have low lift support options, right? So there's a way that a client can, send an email, send a notification if something's not working, if they need some support. So if your fulfillment isn't automated and it's not scalable, then you risk some of your customers slipping through the cracks. And you're also limiting how much your business can grow because you have a limited capacity for delivery if you're manually having to send out every single thing. So again, in our example of this client that's moving through our imaginary funnel here, they find your organic content or they find your ad. They watch your free latching video. And then they get an email nurture sequence that encourages them to book a session with you, and they can pay online. They pay it, and then they immediately get a calendar confirmation, a link that they can add to their own Google Calendar. They get an email that confirms their appointment. They get a little follow-up email that says, here are the things to prepare for your appointment and your visit. So they're getting everything right away. Or maybe if what they bought is a course, then they immediately get instant online access to that course, and they get a walkthrough that shows them how they use the online delivery system of that course and what to do if they need help. So they feel like they just sent their money to a real business and they didn't just ship their money off to someone who's going to disappear in the middle of the night with their cash. We are used to a certain amount of automation now and a certain amount of speed that actually builds trust as a consumer. I don't know if you've had this, but I've bought stuff online, and when I didn't right away get some kind of email confirmation or follow-up, I became afraid that I was getting ripped off. And sometimes I am, right? I have been tricked by ads and stuff like that before, where you realize, oh no, I just sent my money to some totally fake company and the PayPal address that's on this invoice isn't the name of the website or whatever. And the tip off is that there was nothing automated and branded that confirmed your purchase. So we want to make sure that we are giving our clients a really secure feeling that the place they sent their money to is a reliable, real business. And that is about having a consistent product delivery system. And then we need a customer relationship system, a client retention system. And that comes from being able to provide a relationship, an ongoing relationship that's built on a comprehensive growth journey. So the words that we want to have in mind for this are lifetime customer value, LCV. Lifetime customer value is about exactly what it sounds like. What is the amount of money this customer spends over their lifetime as a customer with your business? We work so hard to bring in customers. It is expensive to bring in customers. We work so hard to bring someone in, and then what, you're going to sell them one thing one time and just let them go? That doesn't make any sense. The easiest sale you're ever going to make is to a happy existing client. It is cheaper, it is easier to keep a client than to get a new one. So having a clear and potentially automated customer journey means that you're able to increase the average value of each and every customer. And you're going to build relationships that keep your clients buying with you for years and years and years. So you need ongoing client nurture and re-engagement. Right? A way that you are reaching out to clients who have bought with you before and offering them a next step. That means we need strategic upsell and downsell pathways for your offers. Okay, so you did the lactation consultant single session. We did the single session. That one went okay, but you still need more support. You can buy a package and we can do 5 sessions. Okay, you finished that package and now your latching is going well. Now here's a video course on weaning, right? Like, what is the next stage that you can take this person through that keeps them buying from you versus, well, I only had the latching thing, so now that we've done that, when it's time for weaning, they're going to have to go to a different business and get help from someone else. Again, I'm not in this industry. I'm making this up as an example, but I'm hoping that this makes sense. We need to have a reason for people to stay in our world and stay in our ecosystem. My favorite example of this, the person who crushes this the most, is your dentist. Your dentist is never going to let you forget it's time for your next appointment. My dentist sends me birthday cards. My dentist sends me postcards reminding me that it's time for a cleaning. My dentist sends me emails reminding me that it's time for a cleaning. My dentist sends me text messages reminding me that it's time for a cleaning. My dentist is not going to let me go. They're not going to let me forget that it's time for my next step. And we don't have to be quite as aggressive as our dentists, but always having a next offering, a reason for your people to come back, a reason for them to stay with you is a really good way to keep your business humming along, to increase that lifetime customer value. Thinking about ways that you can boost your lifetime customer value. Are there more things you could be offering someone after they complete a program with you? What are the logical next steps that you can take someone through? And how can you re-engage someone who's maybe worked with you before and there's a good reason for them to come back? And how do we automate that? My dentist is so good at sending me all of these things because that system is automated. There is a computer program running in your business that tells you when everyone's next follow-up appointment is, and they're just getting a little ping, print all these out today and send them. There's a system in their office for how they notify us of what's next, and they know exactly who, they know exactly when, because there's a system in place for it. We need the same thing. So those are the 5 systems. Most business owners I work with do not have all 5 of these systems in place. Some of them have none, which is why they can't figure out why they've had some success, but their business still feels like an income roller coaster or a scary grind. Some are missing just 1 or 2 key systems, and they are bottlenecking their revenue. If you want your business to be running on autopilot instead of you running it, if you want to feel like your business is running, just straight up running, right? Because it can't run on vibes alone. You want your business to be humming around the clock. We don't want it. I said running like a refrigerator, but really think about it. The difference between I plug this thing in and it just does what it's supposed to do all the time versus like it's hand crank. I run it by getting on a bicycle and pedaling and generating the energy for it. We need to be able to separate the operation of these systems from our physical body. If your business is only making money when you're showing up, if your business is only making money when you're launching, when you're manually selling, when you're out networking, that is never going to create freedom for you. That is just a very demanding, stressful job. It means you are not scaling. You're just hustling. You're not in flow. You're scrambling all the time for where your next check is going to come from. And you're not running the business. The business is running you. So if you want more income, you need a business that sells even when you're not there. If you want more spaciousness, you need these systems built because they're taking things off your plate. If you want more creative freedom, then you need a business that's not dependent on your energy level so that you have energy and space for creativity. If you want to spend more time being in your zone of genius, then you need systems in place that are handling the not as fun stuff. Hustling harder will never get you the results you're hustling for. They won't. You're trying to do with hustling what needs to be done with systems. You can keep grinding in this way, or you can take a step back, and this is hard. It's easier said than done, to give yourself permission to shift your focus to building something that supports you. That, for most people, takes a little bit of doing because a lot of the ways that we're working on the day-to-day, if we're doing these things manually, make us feel important. They can feel like busy work. They can feel like stress, but it can also feel like if I stop doing this, everything's going to grind to a halt because right now the only way I'm making any money is by doing these things. So taking a strategic step back to stop, manually showing up and doing lives all the time to bring new people into your world in order to take a week or a weekend to build a content system might make you feel anxious. Taking these strategic pauses from working the way that you've been working and shifting your focus to building a system, right? Maybe you don't have a good lead generation offer right now, a good low cost, low ticket, or free offer in your business right now, and taking a pause from what you're doing so that you can create that stepping stone offer and maybe build out an ads funnel around it and write all of the nurture emails and get these systems set up on your back end. It might feel very nerve-wracking to do that because it's not forward-facing work. It is all behind-the-scenes work. And in my experience, that can make people very nervous. And it can feel like a calculated loss to step back from the things that you're doing, put your focus somewhere else in the hopes that once you get these systems set up and running, that they will start to generate the results that you're looking for, and then you're going to feel the ease, then you're going to feel the spaciousness. The hiccup for most people is the implementation. And a lot of people don't even realize that the inner game hang up that we're having on doing that is the anxiety and the stress and the doubt we feel by shifting the way that we're working and the things that we're focusing on to being focused more on the behind the scenes of building out these systems, because it can feel so unfamiliar and maybe even a little unfruitful. There might be some immediate gratification you get from, okay, I made a post and I posted the post and I'm getting likes on the post. That might feel scary to step away from for a week while you are working on something else behind the scenes. And that can cause people to not do it, right? To just straight up be like, well, I can't give up the things that I'm already doing in order to focus on this other thing. Everything depends on me continuing to run on this hamster wheel that I've set up for myself. It takes some calculated, strategic discomfort to shift the way that we've been doing things and to focus on doing things differently. So if I were your coach, if we were working together, building out these 5 systems are the things that I would be working on with you. I would be auditing your business together to see if we have all 5 of these systems in place and running optimally, figuring out what's not in place, and then strategizing with you on what kind of system we want to build and getting it built out one at a time so that you can have a business that is a money printing freedom machine. I would love to hear from you about which of these systems you have in place and which ones you don't. There's a post about this on my Instagram. You can find it there and you can comment. You can also just DM me on Instagram at Intuitive Edge Coaching. You can shoot me an email, intuitiveedgecoaching@gmail.com, and let me know, do you have any of these systems in place? Was this an eye-opener for you? Do you have some of them in place and not others, and this is helping you see where you're bottlenecking? I would just love to hear if this was valuable for you. And I'd also like to hear if there's an aha moment that you're seeing how if all 5 of these systems were in place, how different the day-to-day of your business would really be. I would love to hear those things from you. Now, before I go, I have a very exciting little announcement about a way that you could work on this with me if you would like to, which is that Powerhouse Mastermind, my signature mastermind for established entrepreneurs, is opening its doors for version 2.0. It is our 2nd full year of Powerhouse, and we are starting in June. So we've got a little time, but I really wanted to reward some fast action around here. So what we're doing is I am opening the doors now for Powerhouse Mastermind. And if you sign up in March, that's right now, right? Yes, it is. If you sign up in March, you get a very extended payment plan. You get, March, April, May. You get a 15-month payment plan instead of a 12-month payment plan. And that is only going to be available for people who sign up in March. And you're also going to get free one-on-one Voxer coaching with me for the months of April and May. So in the 2 months leading up to the Powerhouse start, you are going to get an opportunity to have free private Voxer coaching with me. That's just like having me in your back pocket. You can voice note me, you can message me anytime you want. I don't respond around the clock. I do have Voxer hours, but you can message me anytime and I get back to you, and we can do so much work on the behind the scenes of your business. You can message me about offers. You can message me when you're feeling stressed. You can message me when you're freaking out about something. You can message me if you have a question about something that's going on with a client. You can really have access to me at any time, and we can get a head start on what we're going to be building in your business together inside Powerhouse Mastermind in the months of April and May. That is a $2,000 bonus that you get for free, along with the 15-month payment plan if you decide to apply for Powerhouse Mastermind in the month of March. Powerhouse Mastermind is $9,999 paid in full. You get 2 months free. It's cheaper when you pay in full, but you're also going to get this payment plan. So it makes it $666 a month for 15 months when you opt in March. And again, that is the lowest payment plan possible. It's going to get you 15 months or 14 months really, because we start in April. So 14 months of coaching with me at a very high level to build out these kinds of systems in your business to get your business running like a well-oiled machine. And then on the inner game side, to help you make the type of grounded, empowered adult CEO decisions that lead you toward your goals. Because for most of us, I'm going to say by most of us, I mean everyone, business is very dysregulating. Business is very stressful. Business is very emotional. And what happens a lot of the time is that situations come up in business that cause us to move into wounded child consciousness, that cause us to operate from our disempowered archetypes. And when this happens, we make decisions from fear, from stress, from scarcity, from lack, from some feeling that we will be criticized, rejected, abandoned, or punished. And that is not where we want to make our business decisions from. We want to make our decisions from our powerhouse energy, from our adult, grounded, creative, inspired, excited, sovereign energy. And a lot of the work that we're doing inside Powerhouse Mastermind is this side-by-side inner and outer game work where you are taking the big swings in your business that you want to take to help you reach your goals. You are putting on the grown-up pants and building out the systems that allow your company to run efficiently so that you create more freedom and more revenue. And my expectation is that as you're doing that, your wounds and your triggers will get activated. And when that happens, we have this inner game coaching system designed to help move you through those places so much more quickly, so much more efficiently, so much more effectively, and learn a system for moving yourself through them so that when you're no longer working with me, you have these tools in place, or even the things that used to trigger you no longer trigger you because you're just able to stay in your regulated adult space so much more of the time. It is an era right now in the coaching world where everyone is doing super short-term, high-intensity, very specific offers. And those are valuable and they're great. But I think for the mature, established entrepreneur, there really is no substitute for long-term, high-touch mentorship with one mentor who really knows you and really knows your business inside and out, who can catch the little things, the little tells, the little variances in your tone and your energy when you're feeling stressed out because they know you so well. And that is the kind of intimacy that you can only create in a high-touch, long-term coaching relationship. It is also for people who see the value in having a cohort of friends that you're doing business with who are on your level, who have a peer group of people who are inspiring you, who are working on similar things, who are at a similar level, and who are able to reflect your greatness back to you. People who want the camaraderie, the connection, the feeling of family, of doing business together long-term at a high level. And that is who Powerhouse is for. Powerhouse is designed not just for you to stay in for a year, but for you to stay in year after year and to continue to grow inside the mastermind if that is what you choose to do. And I genuinely hope that you will and that you do. So this is the first official announcement, the first place I've told anybody. The doors for Powerhouse 2025 to 2026 are officially open. We start at the height of summer. We go into summer solstice blazing, guns blazing, working through building out the second half of the year, but also really building out the back end and the emotional end of your business. The doors are open right now for applications. If you get in, you get the 2 months of Voxer Coaching free and a 15-month payment plan that makes it $666 a month for 15 months. There are only 20 people who will be accepted into the second round of Powerhouse Mastermind, and you will get a lot of private attention inside that group. There are a lot of really exciting changes that we're making to the structure of the program to make sure that everyone gets the most out of it that they possibly can. And I'm really excited to be moving this program out of beta and into its next form. And I can't wait to do it side by side with you. So the link for that will be in the show notes. intuitiveedgecoaching.com/powerhouse is where you can find all of the details and submit your application. And again, you can DM me on Instagram and ask me all the questions you want, or you can email me intuitiveedgecoaching@gmail.com. That's everything I've got for you today. Again, I'd love to hear your reflections on these 5 systems, and I can't wait to read your Powerhouse applications. Okay, love you. Bye. That's our episode for today. Thank you, as always, for being here and for listening to the podcast. I know there are so many things that you could be doing with your time, so many things you could be listening to. It is an honor that you choose to be here. Connect with me on Instagram @IntuitiveEdgeCoaching. Have a great day.